An unknown error has occurred.
Or anime is just as boring, but like that graphic.
Alright. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Unknown Era podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Marty. Marty Man. I don't know.
Martino?
I gotta give myself a cool like radio handle.
Can it be Martino?
Marty and the Party. No,
Can
that's
this be a
stupid.
side gag now that we just say Martino now?
Martino.
Yeah. No, never mind. That's something.
And here I am with my partners in crime, Richard
Yeah.
and Rodrigo.
What do they call it? Lots of people when they first meet you, they're like Rodey.
Rodey, yeah. I will never forget Rodrigo.
Rodey.
Or they think they see an N and they call you Rodney.
Yeah.
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 Rodrigo is fun though.
Rodrigo,
Wake up!
Rodrigo is an inside joke amongst us when we went and shot the Parallels music video.
Yeah.
And we stayed at my parents' place. And I guess Roddy's...
terrible.
No, I'm not going to say
Jeff.
I guess. I'm not going to say I guess. I know
Yeah.
Roddy snores like a fucking monster.
Yeah.
And
It's like my not secret shame anymore.
No. our friend Jeffrey Cork, woke up to his snoring, and they had just met like a day or two before, and he was so tired that he was just shaking Roddy and saying, "Rodrigo, wake up! Rodrigo, wake up!" And then we told him, and it was like, "You know his name is Roddy, right?" And he's like, I thought it was something like that. I felt really bad, but I just want to go to sleep.
Didn't mind. Yeah.
But hey.
now I get like if anything happens, I need my own room, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, this is the Unknown Era podcast, where every week we challenge each other to watch, listen, or play, or do something with entertainment or media in some way or another. And this week is Rick's week.
Yeah.
Rick,
Go, Rick, go!
what did you challenge us to watch?
I asked you guys to watch a fun little indie flick
Super indie.
titled, and you might not have heard of it.
No, nope.
Tron Legacy.
Yeah, no. It's made by this company, Disney.
Disney. It's French.
Right.
It's so
okay, of
indie
course.
that it actually has its own amusement park ride.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, no, you made us watch Tron Legacy. Little tidbits, as I always like to give out. Some little tidbits about it. Made in 2010, or came out in 2010. It's about 2 hours long.
Yeah.
For anyone that's wondering.
Not a terrible runtime.
It's directed by Joseph Kalinski.
Yeah.
I don't know what else he's done because I didn't bother to dive that far in. Stars Jeff Bridges, Olivia Wilde,
Yeah.
and Garrett Hedlund,
Yeah.
who
Was
I was looking and I was like, why do I recognize this guy? Something.
Yeah.
He was Hook in the Terrible Pan movie that came out.
Poor him.
He played
Although
James
that did-
Hook,
oh, I
the
should
one
watch
that Hugh Jackman was Blackbeard.
Yeah, it was. Wait,
Have you guys watched
Is he like
that?
owned by Disney or something? Is this guy like owned by Disney or something?
I don't know. He hasn't done too much stuff, but he was
Just
in
like
this.
2 Disney things and like that indie thing. That
But
I
he was in
think I
this.
saw.
The other thing I noticed about it is that it has a lot of writers on it, which might
always
make
a
sense
good-
for a lot of
It's always
things.
a good sign.
So Rick,
More is
tell
better.
us why. Tell us why you decided to make us sit through this hell.
Well, just when we were talking about it, when we were talking about sort of like what we're gonna do, the format wise.
Yes,
I had recently watched Tron Legacy,
Legacy.
and it was my second time watching it. I first saw it in theaters when I was sort of like vaguely intrigued by the 3D thing. I think I saw 3 movies in 3D. Avatar,
Yes, that's the classic.
Tron Legacy, and Cave of Forgotten Dreams, the Werner Herzog documentary,
Okay.
which was wonderful. And if you didn't see that in 3D, you really missed out.
I would imagine that. See, that's actually good for 3D, unlike everything else that's for 3D.
I think it's the best use of 3D. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're like, cool. Yeah, and I was like, wow, because I hated it in theaters. But I watched it again, and I was like, this works so much better as a 2-dimensional film.
Okay.
It's like, it just works better, and I got to appreciate, because I did, before I watched it in theaters, I went and watched Tron, which was a 1982
I heard that's a really convoluted story, though. It's
Yeah.
like things just happen, and you're like, what's happening?
Well, it's
And
their
this
take on
isn't?
yeah, it's their take on what computers were. You know, they're gonna
Yeah.
like suck up your soul or something.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
computer
You
programs have
get
personalities.
that with some themes that this tried to do.
Yeah. But yeah. So watching it again, I was remembering like all the production design and all the details. Like it just seems like it was made with a lot of love
No,
in
I
some
don't
weird
argue with
way,
that. Yeah.
which doesn't happen in Disney movies most of the time. I don't know.
Well, some Disney movies. Well, I don't know. Beauty and the Beast.
And I was also really intrigued by
No.
the idea of like a
Disney-
sequel happening 30 years
Yeah.
after the fact.
Disney now feels like it's just churning out stuff.
Except it's animation.
Yeah, but I mean, like that's because that takes
Pixar.
years and years to make, while they're literally making a live action version of
Mulan.
cartoons now every single
Year.
year.
Still psyched about
So
a
it's like-
future Aladdin, though. See how they do that.
I guess they're probably going to put a white person in
Or
it.
Lion King.
Yeah, Lion King's gonna be.
It's just gonna be
The Lion
CG
King?
animals. That's all it's
Yeah.
gonna be.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be people. It's gonna be CG animals. Why not just make
So
a
what are you
fucking
saying? Are
cartoon?
you saying this
But
is
anyways,
the last good Disney film?
No, nothing like
really?
that. Because it does feel like one of those churned out things. You're like,
Disney owns
why
Star
would
Wars
you?
now. So
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
You're like, why would you watch Tron? Like, why would you remake Tron? Is like another big question.
a
Like, why
real-
would you do
yeah.
a sequel to it?
yeah, exactly.
It's
like-
an interesting word. The concept is interesting,
Yeah.
but then the Matrix happened.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's
Yeah, no,
entirely
that's true.
it. That's entirely
so like
it.
it didn't really need to go back.
And like a fun little thing to explore is now that we've seen CG Tarkin face.
Yeah,
Tron was the first CG face.
Oh, I couldn't tell.
Jeff Bridges.
I'm joking.
I was about to be like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So
So engage, go.
what I did was I just sat in the dark and I watched it.
Yes, same.
The first time watching it, and I wrote, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages.
Yeah.
So much.
Just, well, it's a small. People that can't are just listening to this. It's a small book, and I did double
I
space,
see.
Okay.
and I wrote big,
Yeah.
just because I was just writing down my immediate thought in the moment,
in the dark.
in the moment, in the dark, and just everything.
This is Prometheus levels of discussion.
Oh, is it?
I find not maybe not Prometheus levels,
No.
but like for
the
things,
plot holes are not that big.
not plot holes, but just the things that was trying to do. I was like certain things that was trying to like hint at theme wise. I'm like, you're really going that route. You're really choosing this
So
whole
The very
ISO subplot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
the very so let's just start from the beginning and work our way to the end. So the very first thing is CG face.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't think that it would start off like that. I thought, because I knew the plot very loosely, I thought he was going to go into the fucking Tron and fucking then find Clue, who is, the duplicate of Jeff Bridges, and then that's where it was like, oh shit, horrible CG face. But it starts
It's
off
in the
with
beginning,
like,
yeah.
oh, this is the 70s, this is the 80s or 70s.
It's
and
like the day before he
The
goes
way
into
it starts, it
Yeah.
kind of tricks you. Because like initially, because the first thing I wrote, I was like, oh man, they did that classic thing where like the logo is a part of the movie. Like they did, like they made it all Tronified.
Yeah.
But then it does this thing like, yeah, I can get into this, I can get into this. And then it does that stupid slow reveal to realize what they did to Jeff Bridges.
Oh, Jeff Bridges' face.
You're like, oh, that's what's happening.
I'm like, are they just gonna stay behind his head the entire time and not show his face? And then they move around and reveal. I'm like, oh, that looks horrible. That looks so bad. Like just the lighting and like they do close-ups on the kid's face, on his son's face, Sam, and like, and then they just cut back to his face and it just looks so bad. Like,
One thing
I wish I knew more about animation, just so I could describe it in much more detail how bad it is.
it makes me appreciate, like, I feel like they should have done a different route. Because, like, in X-Men 3
Makeup.
and Ant-Man, they managed to make Michael Douglas and, like, Ian McKellen and everything, they digified their face to be smoother, but it looked off
That's the
guard,
problem.
but it
Yeah.
wasn't.
That's the problem, is that it's so smooth
Yeah.
that it doesn't look real.
That's
But I
the
would
thing,
prefer that over what they did here, where it was just like talking to some CG ones and zeros, and
Yeah.
I was like, this is wrong on all levels.
And then we get the loose plot of the outer world plot before you actually get into just like the world, the grid, and that's that he started a video game company.
Yeah, he's like Batman.
And that it became a $1 billion operating system company.
Yeah.
And then his dad, and then Sam's
his
dad.
dad was a programmer and programmed things.
Yeah.
And he
so-
disappeared. The company went big.
Yeah. So
I have to-
Sam's.
He's Batman.
I Wikipedia the plot after the movie was done because I was like, oh.
I didn't. I'm just going off of what I experienced, and that's it. Because the whole time I'm like, so, because when they when they jump forward in time after Flynn is gone and his son's left and his son's now the owner or is the biggest shareholder of the company. What's going to happen? Blah blah. It jumps forward, and then we see this dude who's parkouring off of shit.
But you have to
Badass.
admit, Kate, the beginning when it was the parkour with the choice of Daft Punk, like I think
Well, no,
the first half felt like a different movie for me.
But-
like it had potential, and then it went to shit.
No, that's the 100% positive thing I will give this movie. The music's great.
Oh,
Yes,
fuck yeah.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
all
fuck
Daft
yeah.
Punk. It's all Daft Punk.
Oh,
It's-
yeah.
It's
Pulls,
amazing.
pulls everything
The
together.
beginning felt like I was like trying to describe it when he's on his bike. It's like this is like a French like thriller. It feels like, and then it became something stupid when he had to parachute.
But then, but what the problem that I have with sci-fi movies
This is a sci-fi movie.
is that
Yes, technology is involved.
is yes, you need exposition to explain the world, but when they go into that boardroom meeting and he's like sneaking into the headquarters to like get the operating software to put it onto the internet for free, and he's just like wanting to fuck with the system. When they're in that boardroom and they're just talking, it's just garbage. It's just garbage dialogue that's just coming out and it's nothing. And all the characters in that scene are just bullshit. It's nothing.
But imagine, okay, I felt so bad. There had to be something more to that scene, because why else would you get Cillian Murphy just to
That's
do?
the thing.
Just to do that?
It's Cillian Murphy
I
to
thought
be
he would
one-
come back, but I was like, no. He's
They
just
just
there to
cut him out.
He's like, watch me, I can fix everything, and then he's gone. And I'm like, so wait, what was this? Was that? Were you involved with like anything else? He was completely unrelated to the plot. You
Yeah.
could take him out,
No,
and it's still the same.
That whole scene and sequence
so
just
Disney.
describes
So
just
stupid.
as to describe, hey, so this is a big company and this guy wants to fuck with it, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool. And then why does a security guard want to chase after a dude who's coming into the building and obviously steal something, and then follow him to walk across the crane that's on top of the building to utter death? Really? Why would he
Because-
walk out
Just
with
be
them?
like, I'm
Because
gonna-
he's the stereotype of all security guards you see in films. He's fat, as every stereotype is. He's
Willing
like,
to risk his life for that job, though. That paycheck is really important.
yeah. And then like, but did he make? I can't remember if he made a joke where he's like, "This is not worth my money." Like, I don't
Oh,
care.
when he's like climbing out, he's like, "This isn't worth it."
Yeah, I feel like I'm like, okay, at least they added that. But for me, I was like, why?
And then he's just like, Sam is like, Mr. Flynn, and
Oh,
like,
no.
it's like, why are you here? And then Sam jumps off. Oh, I got a parachute now.
Okay, the whole action sequence was pointless though, because he goes
Yeah.
to jail and then he's out of it
And he
like
just
a
bails
second.
out, yeah.
And I'm like, there was no point to that
No,
whole thing.
and they try to make it funny with him like getting caught on the thing and like, I don't know. And then this is what breaks down all of the in real world scenes to me. Is the scene that then he gets at it, bails himself out probably, and gets his bike and he fucking goes back to his shitty, or it's not really shitty because that's the problem.
Super nice Manhattan,
But it's-
low rent place.
But it's freight tanks or whatever they are, freight things that he's converted into like a super high tech house off the pier or whatever.
I know. I like how they try to make it look. I wrote that try to make it look grunge, but that probably costs like millions and millions.
But
of
this is
dollars.
what I wrote. This is legitimately what I wrote. Sam, I'm super rich and full of problems, and then Alan shows up, who was his father's partner, who is when his father went into the grid, he made a copy of Alan to be Tron, to be like his partner and everything.
The
And
same
everything
actor who was in the first one.
and everything that fucking Alan says are just big words that have no weight.
Yeah.
Like, nothing that the characters say have weight in what they're trying to, like, come across. Like, I wish I could have the dialogue in front of me, because as you listen to it, the problem, it just irks me, is like, when you say, like, and we were close to getting the miracle, and da-da-da, it's like, but what weight does this have on the world that I'm in? Like, what can I relate this to?
It's
and
just
like
trying to tie to Tron, the original. That's what it's trying to do.
One of the best examples is, I remember someone talking about something as like, weight in dialogue is tricky because you can immediately distance an audience from it. And the example is from the remake of The Italian Job with Mark Wahlberg and them. And it's like when they're planning or whatever, and Seth Green, they're talking about what they want to do with their money when they get out or when they finish. And Seth Green's like, he like describes like the best sound system and computer that you get, and he says it in very specific dialogue, and the characters just look at him and go, huh? And then he goes, big speakers that can blow women's clothes off. And they're like, now you're talking. It's like, yeah, because when you describe it in very fine detail, it has no weight because no one can relate to it. And that's what this dialogue where he's like, your father...
It's exposition.
Did it. It's exposition that has no weight, and you don't... And for me personally, I don't care. I'm just like, at this point, I'm just like, get into the Tron!
No, yeah, like the thing is though, like I felt like all the exposition I wouldn't have mind if it led to something connected, but it becomes a different plot at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't, like I thought, oh, okay, they're gonna do some like weird like Skynet kind of like thing's gonna happen, and like oh, intrigue, mystery, but like nope, it's just like put a bunch of shit into the movie and see what happens at the end.
And that's the problem. That's the problem with Sam's character. It's just a character that's just like
daddy
flat.
issues.
Yeah, he's flat.
It's daddy
Yeah.
issues. I have so much money that my biggest problem is the thing that I don't have, which is my dad.
Yeah. No, shucks.
Oh shit!
That's why he's Batman.
Yeah, you know, like this is the thing. Like for a character, you're supposed to like root for them. You're supposed to like, yeah, you can do it. I want you to achieve your goals. This one, I'm like, I don't give a shit about your life.
and so then Alan gives him the fucking keys to the old arcade, his dad's arcade, and then he goes there, and then I was expecting going into the Tron or into the grid to be such more of a spectacle, and it wasn't. It was just, okay, go to the arcade, okay, turn it on. It's not like he had to do shit. He just had to flip a switch, and then all the arcades turn on, and then the music starts playing. And then somehow he goes to the Tron cabinet, and then drops a quarter, and then he like looks, and he's like, oh, look, a door. Ooh.
Okay, at that point though, this is the part where, you know, when the movie's bad, when you're like, oh, it's pretty. So at that point, I was like, oh, that arcade's pretty, and then I googled who the cinematographer was, and he did like Life of Pi. And he also did Oblivion, and then also Failure to Launch with Matthew McConaughey.
Brilliant film.
But like the thing is though, like for me,
Classic,
the arcade
instant
scene was
classic.
kind of pretty. Like it was cool, like the way that everything was covered. But what I hated is how, like again, like you're kind of mentioning, is how he got into Tron.
Yeah.
Like it was a stupid thing where let's sit in front of the freaking laser and just like
And it
touch
does zap you.
buttons. Touch buttons.
I literally wrote, that easy, huh?
Yeah.
It's like the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids thing.
Yeah. At least that one's fun.
Where it's like, oh no, oops.
But it's a comedy, and leading up to that, you can see him that he's tinkering with a bunch of random stuff. It's not just like he walks in and he's just like logging in. Oh, I'm here now.
But it's pretty.
It is a very gorgeous film.
Yes.
And then what I noticed is like the CG for the world and like the art design and like all that stuff. It looks so good. Like like the environments and everything. Like that all looks great. And actually, the green screening looks good.
Yeah.
Why does the face look like garbage? Was my main thing.
It's hard. It's
Yeah,
the
it's
first
something you
face.
can't- yeah.
I mean, I think that I'm not sure if that's going to be a totally doable thing for us to do. It's the uncanny valley. It's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, like the newest Rogue One is that it's like it's still bad. Like you're
It's still
what the
noticeable.
fuck?
Yeah.
But okay, like you know how you wanted to get into Tron fast?
Yeah.
In like plot standards, it's actually standard how they got in there. Like at 25 minutes, that's when it gets into Tron. So like first act done. So I'm like it followed it well pacing wise for me.
The movie's 2 hours long, so in the first quarter they finally get into.
I mean it's standard for what you expect from a movie. It just feels long because it's stupid.
Yeah.
They probably didn't need it because all the important shit is when he gets in there.
Yeah, because the thing is,
25
like,
minutes of you have daddy issues. You already did that though.
yeah, still, and I feel like that whole purpose of him jumping off the building was to show like, oh, he's athletic.
I think so too. Like,
Yeah.
because then what happens is he gets in, and this is where I was like, oh fuck, the music's great. Okay,
Yeah.
the world looks cool.
Yeah.
I mentioned that the editing sometimes felt robotic, and I don't know if that was on purpose or not. Like, you know, when he gets in there and he gets sent down, and then the woman robot come out and put his suit on him.
Yeah.
And like the way that it was cut was very like machined.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but it worked in some scenes and didn't work in others. There was like a disconnect, and I would love to know if that was on purpose or not, because maybe it's trying to make you relate to Sam and try to make you feel like you're in that space too, where like all of a sudden these weird things are happening. You can also tell that when they make the women move, that they actually, I think they shot them in reverse.
Oh,
Really?
So you know when like they walk up to them and like put the stuff on them, and then they walk back into their places.
Yeah.
It's very clear by watching how they're walking that they shot it in them walking forward, and then they just reversed it and have them, because the way that they're walking backwards is like really
Really weird.
really weird. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
And yeah, I said 30 minutes in already. What the fuck? And then I just had like random questions where I'm like,
What's this?
so is the world like, is everybody in this place a robot, or are they just
No,
data?
they're
Or-
They're programs.
They're just programs, yeah. It's like,
see, this is the
there's-
Wikipedia.
because
It helps.
there's so many people that I'm just like, are these just digitally created things? Like, who's a real human? And then as soon as they get into like the fight part, it's like, oh, okay, so he's a user, which is like a physical thing. And then
Really good at frisbee.
ultimate frisbee. I wrote ultimate frisbee
Yep. Yep.
because that's what it
It's
becomes.
a skill
That's-
that comes natural.
That's the whole plot of the first movie. Yeah.
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 That fight scene was pretty good. I really like a lot
Yeah.
of the cinematography and camera movement in that.
Yeah.
Special effects were really good, I will admit.
It's just so. It's just so shiny.
Yeah, everything's
Everything's
so
so shiny.
I actually wrote later.
Yeah.
I wrote later. Where was it? Flares and lights to hide effects. So they have. If you notice, like there's a lot of parts where like, obviously most of the movie is dark with everybody having light on them in some way or whatever. There's a lot of moments where like they'll have something pass in front of camera where it's very bright, and I think it was to hide a lot of whatever else was in the background.
Right. That makes sense.
What's it called?
Like the fucking.
There was
like,
one thing that like was like, what the fuck? Because the thing is that when you could tell that Jeff Bridges CG is real, a part of me was like, were they planning on making it that he thinks that the CG is his real father? Because the fact that he's CG ruins that whole bit.
Right.
Because he's like, Dad? I'm like,
Right.
obviously it's not your dad because he's CG.
Well, because you don't know if in that moment, because he even asked, like, I have one more thing to talk about before we get to that,
Yeah.
which was the balls.
Which balls?
You know how while they're fighting, he has the two balls in his hands and he's just rotating them?
Right.
Means nothing.
Yeah,
He like rotates them at one point, and then you see like the guy who's fighting, who is later to reveal to
I
be
think
Tron.
they just probably wanted to do that as a character tick. Right?
Yeah,
It
but
just
like,
wanted to
you see
oh.
him move it and move them, and then like Tron like does this, and he goes, and then moves, and I'm like, is he controlling? Is that how he's controlling
Okay.
this dude?
Even with the whole Tron thing, it took me a long time to realize Tron was Tron. I was like, it took me
Oh,
at the
no, yeah.
end.
Yeah, yeah.
It took me at the end. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, as
Like right at the end of the film, I was like,
Like-
that was meaningless.
Is Tron is Tron?
my
Yeah.
notes are literally me reacting to things. So later when things happen, it's just like, of course this, of course
Yeah,
this, of
yeah.
course this.
God.
And then the fact that he bleeds shows that he's real. I wrote the face because that's the scene where then it's like, Dad, and then because he questions, you don't age in here,
Oh yeah.
and then
Yeah.
and then it's like very subtly to be like, yeah, I'm not your dad,
Yeah, but like,
and
I
then
feel
he's
like,
like Clue, and then yeah.
No, not Clue.
And then that they go directly into, all right, you're gonna race me now.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, are we already at like the big climax? Like, what's gonna happen now? Like, what's the rest of this?
yeah,
Because we're already
there's-
at the major. It's how like 40 minutes in, and we're at the thing that has drawn everybody to these movies and this game,
Yeah.
which is
No
the
lie.
bike
It's
racing.
basically okay for me. It's after this bike race and after as soon as they go to that random mountain thing, that's when I completely lost interest. I was just like, because I'm like, no, this is stupid now. Because like for me, it was all Tron world, great, and like from the original Tron. But as soon as they hit that mountain, it felt like it was like the writer or whatever was just like struggling, like trying to complete the story, and you could tell because everything was strained. There's some stupid thing about like, you know who Jules Verne is? I'm like, this is a stupid joke. This is stupid.
Yeah. So then what happens is, Sam faces off with, he gets some programs himself, and it's like a 5v5 game of Tron.
Yeah, and it's cool.
And
Right,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
Clue
yeah.
versus Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone dies except for Clue and Sam.
Mm-hmm.
And then just about as Sam's about to get stomped on, this giant like 4-wheel thing comes in, and there's a person inside of it that's just like, get in, and then he gets in, and they drive out of the grid, so they drive out of the city, and then they just keep going and going and going, and then it revealed this is Olivia Wilde's character, Cora. And I wrote, when I first saw her, I was like, Cora, please be good. Please, just like the character. I didn't mean like, please be a good, like, just be a interesting, well-rounded character that
She
is.
literally is plot. That's what she is.
She is plot, but at least the character itself has dynamics. I like that. It's not as flat as what Sam is. Sam is very flat. Jeff Bridges is good too.
If they
But like,
what's it called? If they somehow made her the focus instead of Sam, because she has technically the more interesting story.
It is more interesting.
And the thing is, they never explain it. So like, we'll talk about when we get to it. But basically, her whole story is like let down because they never tackle it well. Like it's basically like, we'll get to it. But like it's like her whole arc is a letdown.
and then they wrote, so then what I wrote was like, how is there an off grid? Because so they go all the way out to the mountains, and like, how the fuck does? And then it's like, oh, and then Jeff Bridges is there. And I'm like, Jeff Bridges looks great being old.
Yeah.
He actually looks really good, and his acting is pretty good in a lot of the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And I even said, like, when it's the emotional scene of like them just connecting, honestly, what's his name? The guy that plays Sam, Garrett. His emotions in that scene of like just seeing Dad for the first time, and like there being a really awkward moment there. His acting is actually not too bad in that scene.
I like that his like Jeff Bridges' character is like so bad at interacting with people.
Yeah, well, he's been in the grid for so long,
It's
and
like,
and
that makes sense.
but I love the fact that they're like, all right, Jeff, so we're just gonna
Do your
thing, because he just like, hey man. You know, he still has that kind of vibe about him. And it's understandable that like he's been in here since the 80s or whatever, the 70s. But I think it has to be like the 80s.
The 80s, yeah.
Yeah.
Early 80s.
But it's like, okay, I understand that you've been in here since then, and so your, kind of understanding of stuff is still in that era, but it's just very Jeff Bridges.
It felt like just because of who it was and the actor, it felt like kind of unoriginal. And like it felt like more of like, as soon as you saw who the character was gonna be, like, oh, he's kind of a hippie dude. It was more of like, oh, it's fine, I guess. Like, fine, I'll take it. Rather than intrigued. Like, why? It was just more of like, all right, they're going that route.
Yeah.
Sure.
Jeff Bridges I think he was very good in this movie for what it was worth. Like, it's definitely his movie.
Yeah.
No,
he plays two roles, man.
Yeah.
I feel like he made do with what he had.
And then we get the sort of explanation and flashbacks of the world being created and like how everything unfolded.
Sorry.
And when it gets to the whole like, yeah, he came in here and he made Clue to be his, him, basically like an architect, I guess.
Yeah.
What I wrote is basically, it gets bad at the whole ISO thing flashback. Like, what? It's like an unfunny episode of Rick and Morty with the micro universe. I was like, yeah, this is the micro universe. It really is.
Really much
Yeah,
is.
true. Yeah.
I was I was very confused by it because I'm like, so wait, so he created this world, and they went in and there was people already in it.
Yeah, it's the micro universe. It's like he somehow created life, and the life became something else. It's a brick with more into much.
So the
Yeah.
ISOs were this life that was in this world that he created.
It's like
The
I
life
imagine it's like
emerged
Big Bang.
thing.
Like
Yeah.
imagine he was like the Big Bang of
Yeah.
this world,
Yeah.
and like there's things that he could control, but now there's this new being, which is the ISO.
Yeah.
I mean, cool in theory, but it got at this point I was like, oh cool, religion's gonna be super heavy now, cause like what did I said? It does like this, cause all of a sudden it becomes about genocide.
Yeah.
I was just like, we're going there,
Yeah.
and I'm like it doesn't build up to that.
Yeah.
The whole first half of the movie is something else, like this cool mystery technology film, and all of a sudden it becomes like this religious thing tied to Jeff Bridges' character who's meditating, and I'm like, but it has no impact because you don't feel for these ISOs because you only see one of them, and
You
she's
don't even know
pretty
it's one of
flat.
them.
They call them special, and you see nothing special that they do.
That's true.
Like
That's
you're
very,
like,
very true.
I
Oh, the
was like-
specialness, Roddy. In defense of life in general.
Yes.
There's one of my favorite Futurama quotes from the professor is, "There's no scientific evidence to prove that life is important.
but
So the
thing
fact
is,
that
though-
they exist is just important,
Yeah, that's
But-
true. Yeah.
or not."
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, Futurama, a cartoon, managed to get that across with a sentence.
Oh yeah, true.
This doesn't get that across at all. So it
No.
comes off this feeling of like they're so blah with the characters, and I'm gonna be blah with this whole ISO thing.
Well, it's
Yeah.
the fact that it was like, yeah, so all this happened. Oh, and then Clue like went crazy.
Yeah.
And then
Stereotypically
I'm stuck
crazy.
here. I'm hiding, even though I have this mansion and like these bikes and stuff. Like I'm here still. But he hasn't found me for years because I'm just hiding in plain sight, clearly. I actually really like Olivia Wilde's character. I like Cora. I did like. They're trying to have some levity, I think, with her character and like the whole
Yeah.
like, oh, here's all these like real books.
Yeah.
And she read every single one of them, and I actually did chuckle at the. Do you know Jules?
No, yeah, no, for
do you
me-
know Jules Verne? And then he's like, well, of course. And she's like, what's he like? Because she doesn't understand.
No, I understand that, but at that point, I was just like, "What is this movie trying to do?"
I did think her character was like I thought she was going to be way more robotic. I'm like, so she's like very light, and you know, it did throw me off a bit to be like, okay, so she's a very light-hearted character.
I think
How did any of this happen? Like how is she with him and then like she's the only person that he wants here? Like there's a lot of mystery that obviously gets revealed way later at the very end of the movie, but there's like no answers or explanation to anything.
I think one of the problems too with this film, right at the beginning, it doesn't even establish stakes. Like you're in this virtual world, like it's like it doesn't feel life or death at all.
Yeah.
It just feels like, well, he's a pixel, that's fine.
Yeah.
It really feels like that.
That's
True.
fine. He doesn't. It's a pixel.
Yeah, so they kill the ISOs, and then I wrote here, where's Tron? And then it's like, and then Tron defended and blah 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 until I could get away, and I went, oh, okay, so he's dead? Question mark.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. Tron's in a flashback.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, so then so there's a one-way entrance.
Called
Of
Tron
course,
Legacy, and he's not even in it for that long.
Of course, there's a one-way entrance. Cool, that's awesome. And it's like, okay, so now we have conflict and reason 1 hour in.
Yeah.
We have real conflict and okay. And I was like, oh, and it's like and then I actually really like the quote, the only way to win is not to play. Because then it gets very video gamey in a way, and I kind of dug that. Every single time I saw Cora and Sam together, I was just like, just kiss. Just fucking do it.
Really?
I hated that it was just kept being, I'm happy that it didn't happen.
Yeah, because
In the end, I'm really happy there was no romantic relationship whatsoever. I'm happy about that. But they kept playing it as if it was going to be,
Did they?
which
Yeah.
pissed me off.
I guess for me,
Because they have the conversation in the hallway where he's like, why is he like this? And she's like, well, he's your father. You should listen to him. And they're like this. Like, they're just like this close. Like,
You know what it is?
Like,
the way that the Sam characters, because he's so flat and unemotional, I just assume he was just talking. Like, because like...
No, they're talking very quietly and like, very like... like I'm just like,
Kiss me.
if you're gonna be this bad, just do it already. But then they didn't do it, which I'm actually really happy about.
Yeah, at least that's the one thing that was kind of original. Like there was no focus on romance; it's more focus on a dad-son relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I wrote, okay, Zeus. Okay,
Like,
let's see
but
what.
it was surprisingly sexy.
Let's.
Wait, what?
But like the whole thing, it's like everything's super sexy, but it's about this father and son. Is
Yeah.
the thing.
Sleek, sexy design. Yep. Nope. Not about that at all.
Nope.
It's like, okay, so then there's this Zeus character. Okay, let's go find him. Sam fucked up, and now they know where Flynn is.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Classic
weird,
move.
Weird party. Michael Sheen is really good as Caster.
I
Yes,
love Michael
that's-
Sheen.
yes,
that whole
was Zoom.
scene is amazing. You had Daft Punk in there.
I
Yes.
like him up until I really like him
Mm-hmm.
up until the whole change and then the fight scene happens and then afterwards
Yeah.
there's like a weird moment where then like it just cuts to him and he's just like dancing and I'm like
But the
I
thing is,
kind
though,
of get this but I don't really like it. I like seeing him act and like him like do you like be
Imagine-
those be that character. It's like that's
When
really
watching
cool.
the DJ scene, I just envision like what would Edgar Wright do in this scene, because like they had the DJ,
The fight-
and I was just like, oh, they're gonna sync the fight to the music.
No.
And then I'm like, no, they didn't.
That was one of the worst fight scenes I've ever seen
Yeah.
in movie history.
But it had one cool shot. One cool shot for me was there was this woman, and her partner or lover was just killed, and she just holding all the pixels and it's melting. And I was just like, in my head, I'm like, that's pretty gory if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because it's just like blood, and it's all this dead body on her. I'm like, if they did that route visually more, then like, because that's the only time I felt bad for the softwares.
yeah.
If they did that more, then
Oh,
I'd be
you'd be like, no,
yeah.
there's life. They're
Yeah.
life-ish.
Like
Yeah.
it didn't, because
They have emotion.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's something real to this universe. instead
Yeah,
of
that was a
just
cool
fake
shot
and
for me.
data.
And I wish they distinctly the fight with
It was
the DJ.
The fight
That
scene was
so
just
much better.
The fight scene was just so clunky and slow that it was obvious that they had to cut around like the actors not being able to do certain things. Like the frisbee scene was so damn good. But then, like this scene, I'm like, and it was over so quickly.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
there's
it
no
was-
There's no real big fight scenes,
I
like
remember-
hand to hand. Like,
Yeah.
There was it Nerdwriter? He did basically how he examined Lord of the Rings and the fight scenes there, and he said that it's good fight scenes because even this fight scene alone has a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
And like with this one, it's just like it's gone before it starts. And
or
you're
it's
like,
the whole,
"Oh."
it's the whole thing that they're talking about with Iron Fist, where it's like, it's so hacked together that it's obvious that the people can't do it. While with
Yeah.
Asian cinema,
It's wide shots.
it's
see
wide shots and
everything.
you watch everything. It's
Yeah,
like, yeah,
yeah.
that should have been how it's done. Or you make it a spectacle and have, frisbee and it's bouncing and like you see the glass shatter like it was in the beginning. While this
Yeah,
is
there
just
was
like
suspense built into
hand to
that
hand
first scene.
combat. Is like
There were like levels. He has to get down each one. Each
Yeah.
each level's another obstacle. This one was like, oh, okay, cool. They should have. You had Daft. I'm so upset. You had Daft Punk. You could have done so much more with that scene.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that it didn't inspire anyone.
To be like, yeah.
Like it's like, hey, wait a second. Like music is integral to like our whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like, let's use them.
Mm.
But, like
I wonder when they delivered the music.
maybe it was later, so that's why they couldn't time it.
That's what I'm wondering.
who knows?
But, I mean,
They were in the movie.
besides,
Yeah, I don't know.
it's an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Because you think Daft Punk would be like, read the script, here's like a song that we fucking have.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
like did they compose it afterwards or did they have
bits during.
yeah, or did they have the music in mind as they were shooting? Like
There's a whole fucking album. It's wonderful.
yeah.
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 I feel like it happened after.
And then I
Maybe they
wrote-
just scored it.
Of course Korra is the last ice out. Of course she's the miracle. Yeah. Okay, cool. Is she actually dead? Of course she's not going to be dead. But
It's a Disney movie.
It's cool that her arm got chopped off, but then they're like, let's fix her. And they do that whole thing, which I actually kind of enjoyed.
I think for me, when I wrote that at point when they revealed that she was an ISO, what pissed me off is that it felt like it was revealed in dialogue rather than action. Like, I feel like one of them was like, she's the ISO. I was like, cool. Like, it just, like, blatantly tells me rather than do something visual that can...
That whole... I want to know how long it was. It felt like 20 minutes.
Was that the thing when they're on a ship? And
Yeah.
it's just,
Yeah, that was long.
So,
Yeah.
so it there. I literally wrote, sitting on train, epic CG shots of train in space. for 20 minutes, and that's all that it is. It cuts back to them like sitting and talking,
God, I hate that scene so much.
and then while they're talking, they'll just be like, "All right, we need to make this more exciting." Cut to wide where you see like,
Literally, that.
and then back to, "Hey, we're just sitting here now talking."
No, the scene. I felt what they were trying to do was like, you know how like with Avengers 2, there was like this whole farm scene that they did to
Yeah.
get to know the characters. I feel like that's what they were trying to do for this scene, but it just came out like, oh, I remember you were on that bike. You have that bike, son. And I'm like, what the? It's like this
Hey, I
is.
got your bike. I'm trying to make it sound real. We're having connections. We
Yeah, and I
are,
was
we
like-
are clearly connected and want to continue being father and son, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you go meditate now.
Yeah.
Wake up, Cora. Okay, now let's sit like really like sexy together and like talk and be like, yeah, sunrise. It's beautiful. I'll show it to you sometime.
You can't leave the world, you idiot.
And then, and then fucking the whole time I just because I didn't know he was Tron, I just kept calling the bad guy that was in the mask the Predator dude, because every time it cut to him, it would make the Predator sound. Honestly, every time it cut to him and he's like looking, all you hear is
A little-
that clicking sound, like
Yeah,
or whatever. I can't make it, but yeah, something like that. It would just keep making that sound. So I'm like, okay, and like the big giant red fucking ship comes up out of the clouds behind them, and I'm just like, can you guys not fucking see this giant red ship?
Side note,
Can you
like,
not see this
His name
ship?
was Rinsler. I remember looking that up later on.
Hmm?
The bad guy is Rinsler.
Like,
Isn't he Rinsler?
Rinsler? Which bad
Rinsler.
guy?
you mean
The one
his...
that Tron becomes.
Becomes?
Oh, like that's his
Oh, like
after
the
name.
evil
Yeah.
name.
Yeah, okay.
His bad name is Rinsler. Yeah, I found out when at the end.
He said, I think Clue says it once.
Yeah.
Um,
So the fact that you don't even establish your antagonist that well.
yeah.
Yeah.
I did like that the train of the programs on the side of it said cache.
Cash?
Like it's a data cache.
No, yeah.
Yeah. I actually really I caught that. I was like
the little
that-
nerdy
I
details.
was like, that's really cool. That's good because that's what it is. It's just a bunch of data just stored in a thing. It's a cache of data. Sweet. That's a little nerdy thing. And then I said, of course, Tron is the Predator dude.
That was very. Wait, are we talking about when they reveal it?
Yeah,
when
he's
they
flying around.
when they pull into that bigger ship that's moving towards the portal, and and then like
Because I found
they're
late.
sneaking around, and then they go up, and then he like has the two blades, and Flynn's just like, Tron.
Oh, I don't know. I guess I missed that because this is when I found out. For me, I found out when they were like, when he was behind them, flying behind them, and he was like,
He sort of
I
breaks.
fight. I was like, that was very Deus Ex Machina for me because it just came out of nowhere, and it was like, I fight for the user. I was like, oh, he's Tron. Like that's what I got.
It gets revealed earlier because what happens is in the flashback to when Tron dies and Flynn turns on him, what happens is that Tron takes two discs, and one is red and one is white, and then that's sort of like where he turns or whatever, and then that dude for the rest of the film fights with two discs, and one is one color, one is the other, and you can sort of see the difference. And so then when Flynn sees that, he's like, Tron, and
Oh, okay. I guess I really did lose interest.
we're 95 minutes in, and the face comes up again, and that's where he's doing his whole Hitler speech.
Yeah, that was. I was like, they're not subtle in this film at all. Like, not subtle at all.
This giant Hitler speech. I was upset there was no more driving scenes. I'm like, oh, I'm coming to the end of this movie, and there's no more Tron bike scenes. Okay.
But there's a Tron flight scene.
The
yeah,
flight scene is cool.
Yeah.
I said so they have X-wings, and this is just the scene from Star Wars where it's the X-wing versus the TIE fighters versus the Millennium Falcon. Okay.
Yeah, it's that. Except with like Bumblebee things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, come on, Tron, do it. And then he like dies, and I thought like, oh, he's gonna come back. And then he didn't come back.
No, I'm pretty sure he dies.
As soon as he like sort
Hardcore.
of takes out Clue, he like falls into like the data water or whatever it is, and his lights fade, and then that's it. I felt bad for the dude that then played the actual Tron, like in real life. I know he was from the original movie, but like he played Alan in real life, who is supposed to be Tron.
Oh, he
Yeah.
did?
And I know that they used for the scenes where it was the flashback, they used a CG version of his face.
Yeah.
I wish there was more there, though. I wish there was way more Tron stuff. Like,
No,
this
I
seems
yeah.
like a character that totally could have been.
They didn't use him at all, and they replaced Tron with Sam. Like, they replaced Tron, a potentially interesting character, with
There could have at least been a scene where Tron and Flynn
Or like, hey,
encounter, and then like maybe Tron is about to kill him,
yeah,
and it's like more of a like
can't kill you, my best friend
yeah.
in the whole world, my
Yeah,
liberator.
I felt like this movie tried to all of a sudden become so big when it could have focused just on the small world.
Yeah,
It tried to tackle these big issues that I felt like, why?
the genocide thing was pretty.
Like,
out
as
of
soon
it.
as it hit there, I was like, well, this has gone the wrong
Oh, the idea of
direction.
creating life and all that shit. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
And like Clue is just giving the biggest like
Hitler speech ever.
Hitler speech ever. It's literally that, because it just goes on and on about it, like, I won't like turn my back on you all and do. And what bugged me was just like logistics of stuff. So I'm like, every time he kept like, it cut to the crowd and you see them all and they're just like, we're programs, we don't have souls, and then it would cut back to him and he'd say something and then all you hear is yeah, and I'm like, what of any of those thousands of things out there are cheering? Who's cheering? Do they even care?
Like, yeah.
Yeah, they don't establish
Do you
that
even
at all.
need to make a speech
Yeah,
when you could just tell them to go do a thing?
when you can just program them.
Yeah, because they're already programmed.
It's just like the egotistical
You
mindset
know what it
of
is?
them.
I feel like this movie has a problem with like show don't tell. Like, it feels like it shows things that you really shouldn't see, where that could have been
Yeah.
like done so fast. Like, I felt like we're like, no, we have to show he's bad by doing Hitler like references, and I'm like, no, I don't think that's a route you should have taken. But all right,
Because
then.
it's not until the ending
Yeah.
where he then says why he did everything. And it's like, there could have been more, because it's just like from the moment you see Clue, it's just like, I'm evil. I'm just evil. Evil, 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 evil. I want to go into the world. Why? Because I want to my prime directive was to make things perfect. And then it's like, oh, well, there's no such thing as perfection.
Oh, what's it called?
That's like the whole ending is like Jeff Bridges being like, there's no such thing as perfection. You can't achieve it. I lied to you. I'm sorry. But it's like, couldn't there been moments with Clue earlier on where it shows that kind of, it shows him struggling and it shows him, because the whole time is just like, I'm just going to kill Flynn. I'm just going to kill Flynn. I want this disc. I'm going to kill Flynn. And then at the end he's like, I did everything for you and I got nothing. And it's like, also that little turn that Jeff Bridges does where he's like, no, Clue is a genius and he created a utopia. I fucked it all up. And it's like,
Yeah, it's weird. It doesn't explain how you know what it feels like? It feels like they had it, because I understand this, trying to write a feature. It has like a clear beginning and a clear end that they probably wanted to do. I just didn't know how the hell to get there. And so just put up these random plot points to like get to that point. Because even for me, they built up this whole father-son thing. I'm like, fine. Like, we're going to do this together. We're going to stick together. And I'm like, okay, cool. You guys are now apart. Like, I'm like, your whole speech about staying together is like, that made you kind of like your backbone is like thrown through the water with this random sacrifice at the end that still did not make sense to me. Like, with the solution and all was to integrate somehow to each other.
well, it's like,
What was that?
What I akin it to is like, okay, with Dragon Ball Z, the whole Piccolo thing. Okay, so with the backstory story with Piccolo is that there was a ancient like evil deity called is King Piccolo, and he was a Namek, and he came to Earth and he decided, I want to destroy everything because I want to eat worlds. And when Goku killed him, he then split into two separate beings. One being Kame, and one being Piccolo, which is basically good and evil. And the idea is that if one of them dies, the other dies. And if they ever were to reform again, it could either be the end of the universe or be really good. But they have to stay separate because one is evil, even though Piccolo then becomes a good guy. This doesn't make any sense. But it just happens because it's Dragon Ball Z. But basically, yeah, it's like they have to stay separate because that's how the essence of life will stay, is if they stay separate.
Did you get that from the movie, or did you get that from referencing?
I got it afterwards.
Oh,
Like
that's
I didn't
like
get it from the movie. No, I got it afterwards when I was thinking about it.
Sort of
I
like
was
a philosophical concept of
like,
the thing.
It's like, oh, okay, so he knows that. Okay, because I'm sure Jeff Bridges could have just done it forever ago, but he didn't want to.
Yeah, I think.
Because as soon as he sees it going bad, he could have been like, yeah, I'm just going to sacrifice myself and then I'll die in the program and that's it. But the whole time he's like, no, but I got to get back to my son.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to stay alive. But the only way for me to stay alive is for Clue to stay alive.
It doesn't come across, though. Like, I find... I don't
It's
know.
something a lot bigger that they just glazed over, really.
Yeah, that's what I think. Like, I felt like it was trying to be something else, but, like, it failed. Like... I don't know what like I guess that's why there's so many writers at this. Like, it's probably so many people were story editing this, trying to find something to streamline it, and it just came to this point where like this is the best we can do to fix it.
Yeah.
Because it really feels like so many different movies in one, like a father-son story, a genocide story, like what else? I guess I know, like creation story with like this whole like other half of him. Like there's so many things happening, and like it didn't fill it in. And there's not even talk about all the stories of the programs themselves. Like, what's it like to be a program in that world? Like with Michael Sheen's character, like what was that all about? Like why did he was wishy-washy there? Like they created these cool archetypes, but they just never did anything with them to explore them. Like it sucks. They did this crazy world building. Like they spent so much time and they just like dropped the ball when it comes to story.
It's kind of like what's the one the Wachowskis made with Channing Tatum?
Jupiter's Ending?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it's somewhat. It's the same problem as like the Last Airbender,
I didn't watch that one.
where
I'm
like
scared.
that was my first foray into like the Avatar thing, and I was like, oh, I see like deep concepts and things.
Martin's
but
shaking his head right now.
No, just no. It's like,
But that movie like is the worst thing I've ever seen.
yeah.
Um,
But like, yeah, getting into that world is like, this is not a good representation of the world at all.
no, but I mean, there's concepts. Like there's a lot more to play with than.
Yeah. Which is what the TV show.
Yeah, does. Yeah.
But yeah, no. And then with the ending, it just is like, okay, so he sacrifices himself. He gives his disc to Korra so that when she exits the
World.
program, she can be a real person.
Yeah,
Isn't
sure.
she a data thing?
Was that what it was? But then why do we see her?
No.
His dad was the data thing.
Right,
No,
never
he
mind.
he downloaded the world. He downloaded
Right,
everything
right.
into that chip and just kept it.
Right.
So the grid and Tron and everything is in that little thing.
Right.
But then she's just
She's just there.
there.
The disc allows her to leave.
I think.
Yeah.
Because the Rick and Morty episode did this better.
Yeah, it's a funny episode.
Which one?
The American Universe, it basically did this kind of like topic or like kind of similar worldview better.
Okay.
And it was in 20 minutes.
And this is 2 hours of.
Well, you should rewrite
We're writing this.
Tron.
No.
It's a cool fucking world, Roddy.
No.
It's a cool world.
It's a cool fucking
it's just
world.
asking
Do
for
more
trouble.
with it.
It's just asking
It's
for
a
trouble.
really cool world. It's just that
I don't think
there's-
anyone wants to go back to
you
it.
have to explain shit to.
I find even
just
in
wanna
the
watch the
original,
shiny world
even
more.
the original, I feel like they probably had trouble explaining the world.
Oh, they certainly do.
So like it's a world that's not explained properly. So like if people like I can't imagine a series Bible if this ever became a TV show.
It is a TV show.
It's a TV show.
There is a TV show.
It was.
Oh, it was. But imagine a series Bible for this. It's like this happens and this
And this
this
happens,
this.
and
I'm
this.
like I don't sure. It's too,
Was the
it's-
first movie like more like a gladiator kind of thing, where it's like going
yeah.
into the world and fighting and trying to survive?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I feel like that would probably be the best way to do it if you were to remake it ever
It's
again.
sort of that, but yeah, all the programs and the user comes in, they're like, what the fuck, user? And then it's a sort of Moses type of deal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If I remember correctly. Would you recommend it to people?
No. I'd tell them like you want to
Watch
watch
the
some...
trailer.
No, I'd say, do you want
That's
to?
all I would say.
I would say, do you want to watch something and like just to hate watch it? Watch it. Then.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I'd say hate watch this.
This is a hate watch.
This is like you just come away baffled by certain things, or you're like, that was just terrible.
True. Like I said, as soon as they go to that off the grid mountain, it just loses itself. It just loses everything.
Because I loved her character. I love Cora until the ending, and I'm like, oh, okay, so you're just a surrogate. Like you're just okay. Like I really wish there had been way.
She didn't
more
do
to her
much.
character.
She
also
get,
didn't
she
do
just
much.
get injured a lot, and then just like is just lying on.
I wish there had been better choreographed fight scenes, and maybe another bike scene. Because like this is what you got to do to make this movie enjoyable, is make it a spectacle.
Yeah.
And like the flying scene was good, but like I do like the fact that when they shoot each other, it's basically just pixels. I was also impressed with the fact that like when the plane sends out the stream thing, that also will kill things.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so they're sticking to that. All the vehicles in this world do this one thing, and that's basically what it is. Yeah, that was funny, or like that was good. Like at least trying to stay cohesive. One of the last things that I'll say is, when they drive on the bike and they drive through the forest and they go to the city, and he's like, I'm gonna show you the
sun's
this city that is in the background is the worst CG thing I think I've ever seen in my life. I really just want to pull up that one scene and show you guys.
Just be like, yeah.
Because it is the worst thing I've ever seen. It's so bad. Like I just sat there baffled because I was like, that is the worst. It's a fucking city.
Just use a city?
It's in the background. Yeah.
Well, at least the
city
cinematography is
And it
great.
looks
Just use the city.
It looks copy and pasted in. It doesn't look good at all. Even though it's worse in the face.
And an intern do it. They had an intern do it, probably.
Well, I guess with this movie, listen for the soundtrack and see prettiness.
soundtrack.
Oh,
is
yeah, 100%. Just download the soundtrack and listen to it on repeat.
Yeah.
I like how this whole thing has been me and Roddy talking about the movie, and you just been kind of sitting back being like, yeah.
Yeah, you're basically like, yes.
Yeah.
I just want to see this burn.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy really shitty movies, though, from time to time.
Yeah,
I do too.
It's
I
hate
sat
watching.
through Pompeii and I was like,
I also too really enjoy.
Can't believe you sat through Pompeii.
it was so cool. There were so many cool things about it and so many shit things about it.
I do really enjoy bad movies too, because then it makes me be able to be a little more analytical about
Yeah, you
things
have
and
to
be like,
analyze why it
what
didn't
mistake?
Yeah.
What mistakes do I not want to make?
Putting a little dollop of hope in your lives.
Yeah,
Here.
exactly. I don't want to make the same mistake as these guys.
As these guys did.
So much money.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm always worried because there's a new movie called Valerian and like the
Yeah.
10,000 Planets, whatever. I'm excited for it, but it was like $200 million to make, and I'm like, ooh, it feels like in the making of a box office flop.
it's based
But
off
I'm
of
crossing my fingers that's really good though, because it's Luc Besson.
it's based off of a graphic novel,
Yeah.
so it at least has some originality
material?
to it and source
Yeah.
material than just like, hey, let's just make a world and fucking have people
True,
go in
yeah.
it
That seems to be a hard thing to do.
and just
Last time they nailed that was Willow.
I've not watched Willow.
the last time
The last time they nailed that was Willow.
Matrix created a world.
No, Willow.
It's fine. Whatevs.
sure right, Willow, okay.
Maybe that'll be my next watch for you guys.
Maybe.
Fuck.
But yeah, I guess if you have seen Tron Legacy, just let us know what your opinions are on it, because I want to know if there's a person out there that genuinely enjoys it. Like, is like, no, I like it because of these reasons. Because I'd like to talk to them for an hour or so and be like, why? I want to pick your brain why. Because I actually really find it fascinating to do that.
I don't know. I would say you could do laundry to it. I mean, that's as bad as I could do. I usually rate a lot of movies like that in TV shows when someone asks you something's good. I'm like, I mean, you could do laundry to it.
Yeah.
I mean,
You
like,
don't
it's
have to
fine.
pay attention to it, and it just ends, and you're like, okay, well, I did that for my life.
Yeah.
But
And you meanwhile was productive in something else.
yeah,
I was doing
exactly.
that with West Wing these days.
West Wing.
Yeah.
People love West Wing though.
Yeah, I love West Wing too, but I also do laundry and clean the kitchen and clean up everything.
To watch that.
But
Aaron
thank
Sorkin
you,
dialogue.
thank you, Rick, for bestowing this.
Yes, thank
It
you.
was
onto our lives.
illuminating
Good.
cinematography joke /
Okay.
production design joke
Yep,
/
uh-huh.
animation joke.
Yeah,
Yeah, all that
goodness.
stuff is good.
So
All that stuff is
glowy.
good.
Actually, what was it? I actually screenshotted because it actually won awards.
Oh, sweet.
If you can believe that.
For animation,
No.
For
Let's see.
production design.
The biggest things were, if I can find my things, and this was on IMDb information. It was nominated by the Academy Awards for Best in Sound Editing.
Yeah, I could see that.
It won a 3D Creative Arts Award for Best 3D Feature Live Action, Best Stereography.
Oh no.
I don't know what that is.
Sounds like a made up
The
thing.
Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films gave it Best Production Design and Best Actor.
Jeff Bridges?
Jeff Bridges, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Those are the only awards it won. Everything. It was nominated for a ton of other stuff, but it's obviously like technical things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like a best screenplay. No.
But yeah, thank you for listening, and thanks, Rick. So I guess we'll go on to whatever is coming next, which is actually me. I get to decide.
What you decided?
What is it?
See, it's interesting. It's like, do I make us watch something good so we can have a refresher, or do I put you guys through pain again or something?
Can we just rotate on the bad so
Trying-
like Rick
trying to
doesn't get a bad
decide-
one next
So I have to
time?
go good again? So I have to
Trying-
go good?
Oh
movie?
no, we'll see.
Trying to decide if I want it to be a TV show, but I think I'm gonna go with one of my favorite movies, and we're gonna watch Boondock Saints.
Oh, that's good. I
Oh,
never watched
yeah.
it. I never watched it.
You've never watched it?
No, I know
Okay.
it's referenced a lot, and I just nod.
Okay.
I'm like Willem Dafoe, right?
Willem
Yep.
Dafoe's dope.
Yeah. See?
Yeah, he's dope in that movie,
Yeah.
and has an early what's his name from The Walking Dead?
Oh, yeah. Ba-da-ba-da-ba.
Yeah, that
Yep.
dude.
Yep.
The guy that's
Dare.
Daryl. Yeah,
Roll.
the guy that plays Daryl is in. It's like him when he first started acting.
Ah,
Yeah, and it's really good.
so we are watching the Boondock Saints.
Boondock Saints next time. But thank you all for listening and checking us out. Of course, you can find the podcast on multiple platforms, audio. It's also we also like put out a video or whatever. If you want more of this goodness of awesome talking and discussion, we do a extra little tidbit. See, I can't talk. I can't describe things. We do an extra little bit that is only for sponsors to our Patreon,
What?
called Friendly Banter. So if you want to get more of this, of us talking about
It's
things,
good nonsense that we produce.
good old nonsense, then you can help support us on there. It's also just cool to be a nice dude or a dudette and support us because we are making a lot of different things and we got a lot of plans, and we want to thank you for it by giving you more exclusive content. I think it's a good way to describe it. But yeah, thank you for listening and checking us out. Follow us on all the social media stuff, and we'll check you out next time.
So you get an ASMR voice in your beginning intros and your
And
endings.
and you'll listen to our soft, soothing voices next time on the Unknown Era podcast. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.